Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna get these cookies out of my fucking way. Oh man. It's my day off. I've had a busy week. I've had a busy past few weeks. I tried pounding out my Halloween episodes in as little time as possible. About a week and a half ago. So, yeah. I missed the upload this past week because, well, I've been busy. So I figured, since I wanted to make a video with this, I may as well just do it in a live stream. What the hell is happening in my live scene? I just see right now. Which thing is this that's slightly off center? Alright. MTG ARENA, is that it? Yes. Why is ARENA off center? Let's get that back. There we go. Alright. Fixed it. Alright. Wilds of Eldraine packs. I'm going to save my gold packs for a big gold pack opening episode. For now, I'm just gonna open some Wild of Eldraine. I didn't really open that much because I've been saving them. Been busy though. Alright. Let's open some Wilds of Eldraine, see what we get. Since I haven't really done much pack opening of this set, I'm gonna get more cards. No doubt. I got a bunch of firsts here. Exile target target creature. If you control an enchantment, scry 2. Alright. We got rats and we got mice. It's a mouse. Alright. I was almost done cursing that ring. Alright. Nice. I like that. My music's a little too loud. 1 second. I even turned it down. What the hell? That song's just loud. Alright, Sleep Cursed Fairy. Flying and Ward 2 when there's a battlefield tapped with 3 stun counters on it. Alright, I've definitely seen that one before. Copy Enchantment. It's just a doppelganger for enchantments. Very cool. I don't play that many copy decks, though. I probably should. They're always in meta. Let's go to the next pack. Looks like we got a mythic. Mythic and a rare. What will our mythic be? Will it be one of the good enchantments? Let's see. Got Lord Skitter's Butcher. I got that in real life too. Armory Mice. Spider Food. Oh, they should have reused the Shelob food token, you know? Or is this a reprint of Shelob's? Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature, whatever. Fraying Sanctity. Sanctity? What the fuck? Enchant player. At the beginning of each end step, enchanted player mills X cards, where X is the number of cards put into the graveyard from anywhere this turn. Wow, that doubles mill. Okay. And Rohan, Scion of War. Remember how I got Will Scion of Peace like 4 times in real life? That's fucking nuts, dude. Alright, got Dragon Mantle, Ego Drain, and a rare. Still have less common than uncommon wild cards, and I've used uncommon wild cards lately. Used up all my wild cards, so I need to get them ready for Ixalan. Ixalan is my favorite. Ixalan is my favorite set of all time. So I'm looking forward to this upcoming release that actually I think is going on right now. It's a rare wild card. Wow. I might actually get a bunch of packs from Ixalan. I'm waiting to upgrade my computer first. My computer's getting a little bit out of date. But yeah, when I'm done with that, I might get some Ixalan packs. in real life for another big pack opening. I still need to edit both of my collection opening videos, essentially where I bought collections and made videos with them. One of them I opened a Doctor Who pack, and I intended to release it when there was still the big hype around Doctor Who, but I just missed the window. Whatever. It looks like we got our true Rat King. Tangled Colony. Can't block. When it dies, create X 1/1 black rat creature tokens. Alright. Where X is the amount of damage dealt to it this turn. Wow. It's a rat ball. Primal Vigor. Weaker doubling season, but hey, I could take more of those. Wait, did that say first? I believe I had that already. Whatever. Knightly Valor. Alright. Gadwick's first duel. Okay. And Red Tooth Vanguard. Okay. Let's see. Knightly Valor might be the only one of those three that I'd actually play. What does Knightly Valor even do? Creates a 2/2 token, and enchanted creature gets +2/+2 in vigilance. Maybe. 5 mana cost? Actually, no. Rare. Rare wild card. Alright. Another rare wild card. Utopia Sprawl. First bonus sheet. What does bonus sheet even mean? Does that mean like the special art? Storybook art? I'm pretty sure I have Utopia Sprawl. Unless I just got a bunch of them in real life and I'm crossing the wires. I'm not sure why there are so many things saying first when I'm pretty sure I have these. I know I have Corvold and the Noble Thief. That's in my Treasure Brawl deck. Lord Skitter's Blessing, at least that one's marked as got, because I have it already. Okay, next pack. Ground Seal, and Belligerent of the Ball. Okay. Mythic Rare Wildcard, I'll take it. Helps me build decks. Nothing too crazy in this pack. Archon of the Wild Rose. I've been wanting to put my IRL copy into an Archon deck, just haven't gotten around to it. Oversold Cemetery, I know I have this, and it says it's my first again. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I used a wild card to get a copy of it. This Great Grave Recursion card. It works with pretty much any Grave Recursion deck, where if you have a bunch of creature cards going into your graveyard, you just pick and choose which ones you want, and then you could cast them. That way, you never have to worry about not having creature cards. Good in a zombie deck, good in any deck that's black, as long as it has creatures, you know? Once you have 4 creatures, it starts activating. If you gain 3 or more life, get a 2/2 white griffin creature token with flying. Alright. In a white deck, that's very easy to pull off. This version of Crystal Grotto. I can't talk today. Prophetic Prism. Alright, and Taken by Nightmares. Okay. Why does it say first again? I'm pretty sure I saw this earlier. Oh well. Elvish Archivist. Definitely got. Alright. Ashiok's Reaper. Lord Skitter's Butcher. First again. How many firsts can I have? I got this one earlier. I know that for absolute certain. Why is it marked as first? I definitely have this. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the grave or from the battlefield, draw a card. Alright. 4 mana cost, 3/3. That's a hard maybe from me. Fawn's Bane Troll. Definitely got that one in my video. Sorry, sneezed. Muted myself. Made sure to do it. Rest in Peace. It stops people from using stuff in their graveyards. I believe I have this in the other art, the Ixalan version, I want to say. Or was it Rivals of Ixalan? Oh, whatever. New art. I like the art. Alright, so we got Fairy Dream Thief, the Witch's Vanity, and some garbage over here. I am 100% sure that these are all not the first versions I've gotten of those. I guess Magic the Gathering Arena is broken. Destroy target creature an opponent controls with a mana value of 2 or less, create a food token, and create a Wicked Roll token. Nice. The End. The spell costs 2 less to cast if your life total was 5 or less. Exile target creature planeswalker card. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, library, and a library for any number of cards with the same name as the permanent and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. Alright, that's a good way to break someone's deck down. This isn't the first card like this. I might try to make a deck like that at some point, where it counters other people's decks by like exiling all the cards of specific types in their deck. As long as I can name them. So anytime that they would play a card, then I could bounce it, because I think it's blue. That's the other color for this type of card. You could bounce it, and then you do all the different variations of this card, and you just remove their entire deck. If they're using duplicates of any type of card, it'll shut them down. Oversold Cemetery, again with the first. It's not the first. This is my 3rd copy of this card. Alright, whatever. It's acting like I haven't gotten a single pack from this before. Got the Baronati again. Embereth Veteran. Sacrifice the veteran to create a young hero role attached to another target creature. Alright. Whenever this creature attacks, if its toughness was 3 or less, put a 1/1 counter on it. What's going on in the art? I can't exactly like hold this in place, but like you see at the edge of the sword, there's 3 little golden things. What's happening with that? What are those? Oh well. Dark Tutelage, good way to cycle through your library. However, you will be losing a lot of life with this. So you'd want to have something set up where you can't die from life loss to make use of that. What's this? Extraordinary Journey. That's not my first copy of that. I believe I've talked about it before. Vampiric Rites. Again, a card I have. I like the art though. I'm just gonna stop talking about like the fact that it says first when I do definitely have it. Screen Puff. Oh boy, I love me a good Screen Puff. Storm Kelk Vanguard. It's got some artifact and enchantment removal, and it can't be blocked by weenies. A 6/7 for 6, which is 4 and 2 green. Another Elusive Otter. I've gotten this card so many times in real life, and Arena. It's pretty meh. Actually, it's a good card. It's just I've seen it enough that I'm bored with it. Ice Rot Sentry, it's in my tap deck. Compulsion, let's see. Discard a card and draw a card for 2 mana, and you could sacrifice this to draw a card without discarding. Nice. Good way to cycle through your deck. Horned Lock Whale. When it enters the battlefield, tapped unless it's your turn. It's got Flash and Ward. You could play it on the opponent's turn just to have it onto the battlefield and not have Summoning Sickness the next turn. With whatever mana's left over. You could do mind games with flash cards, and that's pretty good. Let's see. Is it marking cards I don't have as things I already have, and then saying first to things that I already do have? Is it mixed up? Alright. I do know I had the Sentinel of Lost lore. He makes it so that you could return a card from exile that has an adventure to your hand. Put target card you don't own from in exile that has an adventure to the bottom of its owner's library, so it's an opponent's thing. Or exile target player's graveyard. So if you could keep on bouncing him, you could just constantly reuse your adventure cards as long as you're exiling your own library. That way you could always get them back. So I could see some combos done with him, but they aren't exactly combos I'd want to do unless I was playing like Commander. But yeah. Bitter Chill, High Fae Negotiator. Bitter Chill taps creatures with an aura, and High Fae Negotiator has a bargain, and he makes people lose life. Not really the most intense card, that one. Dragon Mantle, classic aura, make creature get big. Godric, Cloaked Reveler. Haste, Celebration. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, he is a dragon with base power and toughness of 4 and 4. Flying, and dragons you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn for 1 red mana, and it loses all other creature types. So if you sacrifice a token, he enters the battlefield as a completely different card, but he still has haste. So he could be a 3-drop 4/4 dragon that buffs all dragons, but he starts as a human. So he doesn't benefit from cards that buff your dragons in hand, but he himself, when he's on the battlefield, buffs all other dragons you control. I could see that being useful. Yeah. Next pack. We got Crystal Grotto, Evolving Wilds, some garbage cards, Hatching Plans. Okay, I already mentioned this in my live action one. I don't know how that's supposed to be said, because it could be said 2 different ways and both be correct. We got Greta. I've seen a lot of commander decks with her. However, I will say, as far as commanders go, she's not the most insane of the commanders. She does deal with food tokens, but I'm pretty sure there are other cards that do food tokens better. Another Elusive Otter. I've seen enough of those. Callous Sellsword. Okay. He's a human soldier, and he enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counters for each creature that died under your control this turn. Wow. 15 more regular packs. Troyan, Gutsy Explorer. He's a mana dork that does stuff with X generic mana values, you know. It looks like he's a thief from Ravnica. Alright. Another Ice Rot Sentry, Impact Tremors, lots of crazy stuff. I'm pretty sure I had Grabby Giant. Alright, whatever. Questing Druid. Whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on Questing Druid. Seek the Beast. It's for 1 generic and 1 red. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the next end step. Until your next end step, you may play those cards. Alright. So you could play this at the end of your opponent's turn if you have leftover mana. Since you're going to be playing a rainbow deck, you'll have all the colors. And you could threaten instants if you have blue. Say that you're going to counter their spells. But then you just use the Seek the Beast, and then you could use mana from untapping in your next turn. Then you could just play those cards. Alright. Pretty simple. Nothing too special. Took a while to explain it, even though I probably didn't have to. Okay, up to 5 rare and 2 mythic tokens. Got another common wild card. Royal Treatment. And, yeah. Gains hexproof until the end of the turn. Create a royal rule attached to it. And Restless Spire. Okay, it's a creature land. I'm not super impressed by creature lands, personally. Woodland Acolyte. It's a human cleric. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and you can mend the wilds. Put target permanent card from your graveyard on top of your library. Alright, good way to bounce cards from your graveyard. And yeah, it allows you to draw a card. For 4 mana, you could bounce a card and then grab it right away. And have a 2/2 creature at the same time. Another Dark Tutelage. Nothing super impressive there. Cruel Somnophage. This card is one of the broken black and blue mill cards. It will mill a player 4 cards, and then its power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Pretty good card. I've seen it used a lot. How close am I to a vault? Alright. I gained like 9% this one session because I have a lot of these cards that's saying are first. Another pack. Okay. We got Season of Growth. I have 2 or 3 of these. Well, if I have 3, this completes my playset. Up the Beanstalk. Whenever you cast a mana value spell for 5 or greater, draw a card. I could have said that anyway. That is different, and it would have been better. But whatever. Dutiful Griffin, sacrifices enchantments, return it from graveyard to hand, and a red cap Gutter Dweller. I had this as one of my pre-release cards. Nice. Yeah. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. Got another Curiosity, probably completing a playset. Tanglespan Lookout, I probably complete a playset of that as well. Not the most impressive card. Lord Skitter's Blessing. Enters battlefield, create a Wicked Rule token attached to target creature you control. At the beginning of your draw step, if you control an enchanted creature, you lose 1 life and draw an additional card. Nice. Again, it's a weaker Phyrexian Arena. I suppose if you're playing Commander, it's another Pyrex Arena to have, because you can only have one of each card. So I could see that getting more play out of Commander. Alright. Sir Armont gets a monster roll attached to target creature you control, and enchanted creatures get +1/+1. So Sir Armont, looks like in the picture, didn't kill the Werefox elf. Nice. Alright. Witchstalker Frenzy. 1 less to cost for each creature that attacked this turn. Deals 5 damage to target creature. Okay. A Tale for the Ages. Enchanted creatures you control get +2/+2. Not impressive enough for me. Already had it as well. Ground Seal, Gadwig's First Duel, Edgewall Inn. We've seen all of these. Okay. Restless Cottage. Living Lands, essentially. Whatever. Tattered Ratter. Whenever a rat you control becomes blocked, it gets +2/+0 until the end of turn. Wow. He sure does love his rats.
What's that, Snappers? Yes, you're right. It was very rude of the innkeeper to throw us out.
Yeah, sure was. You better go get that innkeeper. Another Dark Tutelage, another Edgewall Inn. Another Horned Lock Whale. Okay. What's going on with this satyr? Oh, I get it now. That really bent and mangled looking thing is a leg with 1, 2, 3 joints. Past the knee. But I guess that might be how goats work. I've never actually looked at a goat whose... I guess I've never drawn an actual goat. Whatever. Yeah. I was just trying to figure out what was going on with the art there. Oh, we got a mythic. Another Root Rider phone. I was just talking about it. Wow. Hey, Edgewall Inn evidently isn't first anymore. Charmed Scoundrel. I have this in my Treasure Commander deck. Omniscience. Oh boy, alternative art Omniscience. I actually use this, you know? I've used the other Omniscience for a while. We got a Stab Wound. Yeah, that's probably gonna go in my Aura Enchanter deck. Another The End. The closer I can get to a playset of that, the closer I am to making an actual deck out of it. Curse of the Werefox. Alright. So the Werefox attacked a knight at some point. Or is that a cursed knight? There's the Ferocious Werefox that was in the Sir Arwin or whatever card. Nice. Just looking at the art. Mosswood Dread Knight. When it dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. Okay, so you could get it back because you exile it when you play it as an adventure, and then you could cast it again from exile. So long as you could pay the 2 mana to do Dread Whispers, this creature will keep bouncing back. So you could sacrifice it and then get it back with Dread Whispers into your hand. But that's a little more expensive than like some other sacrifice fodder, like reassembling skeleton or whatever. You're new to MTG, got an Orcish Bowmaster with foil, noticed that it had pretty good worth. You want to build a deck around it. Can I explain to you why it's worth so much? It's worth so much because of its play value. With the Orcish Bowmaster, if I remember correctly, it deals a decent amount of damage, and also summons a token, and also is a creature itself. I'm gonna have to look at it real quick. Let's just build a new deck. It doesn't really matter. Okay. I'm just gonna do Orc, and it should be one of the earlier ones. Do I not have it in Arena? Not collected. Let's see. Where is he? There it is. This is the Arena edit. Where's the one that's not Arena edit? Would it be... Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna pull it up on the internet. Just to read the card. Okay, so, Orcish Bowmaster. When it enters the battlefield, and whenever an opponent draws a card except the first card they draw on each of their draw steps, Orcish Bowmasters deals 1 damage to any target, and then amass 1 orcs. So, it's a creature that's a 2 mana cost with flash. It's a 1/1 by itself. So you could play it on an opponent's turn, or like on your turn, and you'll get a creature out of it. And that creature deals 1 damage to any target, so you could snipe a mana dork very early, or a creature with very low life. Like say if you were just in combat and a creature has 1 life left, you could drop the Orcish Bowmaster and it will get them, and it will kill that creature. And then you amass 1 orc, which makes you have a orc army with a +1/+1 counter on it for each time you've amassed orcs, and if it dies you reset it. But yeah, whenever like an opponent is drawing a lot of cards in their turn, anytime after the first time that they draw a card, it will do this ability again. So if you're playing against any flavor of blue, and sometimes green decks, they have a lot of card draw in them, so he'll keep on sniping them, like dealing damage to either their face or their creatures, and it'll keep growing another creature at the same time. And it's a 2 mana drop creature, so it's a very cheap creature to begin with, and it's just got a lot of value, which is why it's such an expensive card, even though it's only rare. If it was mythic, it would probably be even more expensive, because people would still want to play it. Does that help with your question? Any more questions, I should say? I'm just going to start opening the next pack until I see anything else said. Taken by Nightmares and Hatching Plans. I already have a full playset of both of those, I believe. The Apprentice's Folly. This creates copies of creatures. So, about that 1 damage, how is that dealt? Like every draw after the first one? Yes. So, they'll draw 1 card at the beginning of their turn, and with blue and sometimes green, and I guess sometimes red, well, I guess every color, but blue and green especially, they will be able to cast spells that would allow them to draw more cards, and the next time that they draw a card after their upkeep, it would trigger the Orcish Bowmaster. And then you could choose whichever target you want to take the damage. Like, you could target yourself, one of your own creatures, one of your opponent's creatures, or the opponent. The reason why you would want to target your own creatures would be, like, if you had an Enraged deck, which is Ixalan, and Ixalan's coming back, so I may as well keep that in mind. And Enrage is every time a creature takes damage, it gets a benefit. And there are some very fringe decks where you'd want to be damaging yourself, but unless you're building for, like, some very chaotic deck plays, you probably wouldn't be targeting yourself with that one damage. But yeah. Anytime your opponents draw additional cards, you could hit them. I'm just going to quickly check the card. If they draw 3 cards, for example, so the first one is ignored, but then you have 2 damage to any creature. Let's see. The wording. Let's see. Yes. After their draw step. So their draw step is ignored by the Bowmaster. Then if they, say, use a card that makes them draw 2 cards, then it would do 2 damage to any target creature or player. And you could split that however you choose, because it's each instance of a drawn card. And if they draw 3 cards with a spell, then that would do 3 damage. If you use... I'm forgetting the name of it, I'm blanking. There's a blue card that allows you to make target player draw 7 cards. And usually you'd use it on yourself, but there's a lot of black decks that utilize the opponent drawing cards to do a lot of damage to them. So you would make the opponent draw 7 cards, and then you would do 7 damage to them or target creature. Yeah, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of cards in black that make you deal damage every time that a card is drawn. I'm just going to quickly go over this other card, and I'll hop back into the deck builder, and I'll show you some other examples of cards you might want to build in the same deck. The Apprentice's Folly makes you get a bunch of copies, and you sacrifice all reflections at the end of the saga. Alright, deck builder. Alright, so... Oh man, I'm spacing some of the name. Shieldred, there we are. Shieldred, I'm going to need to do the rest of the name. Shieldred is another pretty expensive card because it's got that ability. I believe it's, yeah, Shieldred the Apocalypse. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life, and whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. So, yeah, that sounds awesome. Just seems like you should keep it on the field without defending or attacking with it, and using its active. Then you only have fear of any spells or instants that target it. You shouldn't really be afraid of losing creatures. Especially with black, you could add a lot of cards that have grave recursion on them in black, so if it goes into the graveyard, you could always just grab it back with another spell. But usually, because of the amassed orcs, the amassed orcs will be better blockers anyways, because you'll keep getting them for as long as the opponent is drawing cards. And usually with a deck that you're basing around the Orcish Bowmaster, you'd want to be forcing the opponent to draw cards. And you'd want to have cards like Shieldred here, which would make them, every time they draw an additional card, they lose 3 life if you have both Shieldred and the Orcish Bowmaster. This is a combo that was very much so in the meta for a while. And Shieldred, unlike the Orcish Bowmaster, also hits them for their draw step. Yeah. Let's see. What was some other ones? I'm going to have to look up. Whenever an opponent draws. Okay. So, I guess you could go with a Fairy Mastermind. These two are especially the ones that are used. Yeah. Whenever they draw their second card each turn, you draw a card. Let's just remove whenever. See if there's other options. I'm going off of Arena. There's plenty of other options in like in other card databases because Arena is not a complete database. That card seems to have an insane combo with it. Yeah. Target player. Put those in quotes and draw. Alright. Overflowing Insight. Target player draws 7 cards. You'd use that to force your opponent to draw a bunch of cards. And 7 cards from this draw times 3 would be 21 damage. So this card could one-shot an opponent if you have both Shieldred and Orcish Bowmaster. And you could also have any number of Orcish Bowmasters in play, while you can only have 1 Shieldred due to the Legend rule. But you could use other cards to make Shieldred have replicas and stuff like that. You got Flame of Anor and Stone of Eric. Nice. This one is Stone of Eric. It's here. You could exile target graveyard and that sort of stuff. It's a lot of grave hate with the Stone of Eric. Yeah. IRL, are they good with it? It seems like Flame of Anor is not usable with it, right? Because of the mana. Of Anor, let's see. I did not spell that right. Anor. Anor, alright. This card, Flame of Anor, would be better with a red and blue instant and sorcery deck. It doesn't really go with the Orcish Bowmaster, but it's a good card if you're playing with like a handful of wizards and then like the rest of your deck is just spells. Red and blue has always been one of the more powerful mana types because there's a lot of controlling like card draw and damage, so you could just use your spells to directly damage your opponent, and you could also use your spells to stop your opponent from damaging you. Because red and blue is also storm colors, so let's just look up storm to show like some cards that are examples of it. Let's see. I'm going to probably have to go into historic. I just realized I'm probably not seeing all the cards because I'm not in historic. Some example of like storm type cards would be like Thousand Year Storm, which is one of the must-haves for a red and blue deck. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it copies it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn before it, and you may choose new targets. So if you cast like 4 lightnings, which are a 1-drop instant spell that does 3 damage, the first one would cast once, dealing 3 damage. The second one would cast twice, dealing 6 damage. Third one, 3 times, dealing 9, and then the fourth one dealing 12. Storm colors, I guess 2 types of mana. Storm colors are red and blue, also known as Izzet colors, because Izzet is the color format of red and blue in Ravnica, which is the guild group. Let's just go Rav, and then multicolor. Let's see. Scroll a little bit. Oh, am I? Yeah, no, it's Izzet. That's why it's not going. There we go. Izzet. The Izzet are the red and blue group in Ravnica. It's the guild set, so you got all the guild gates and that. With black and blue, I believe that's the Demir. Sometimes people just refer to things like that, like what type of Ravnica group they are part of. But usually I like to just say what I use them for. Black is a lot of like murder, and black and blue is a lot of murder mill. Mill is an ability that allows you to put an opponent's cards from their library into their graveyard. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Oh man, I'm probably being very confusing with my explanation. I hope that something's coming out of it. Storm colors, when I say that, is because red and blue have been used in the past for like the storm ability, which they haven't reprinted that much since they made it. So storm is kind of an archaic ability. I don't know if any cards in Arena have storm, but what storm did is you cast a spell, and like then you cast another spell with storm, and it will copy for each other spell that's been cast this turn, and it also targets like your opponent's spells. So if like an opponent played 3 spells, you could cast a storm spell, and it would cast 4 of them because your opponent cast 3 spells. Yeah, that's pretty much what storm does as an ability. I believe Wizards doesn't want to reprint storm. Just like how they don't want to reprint Cascade, but they're making a better version of Cascade in the upcoming Ixalan set. The only Cascade card in Arena is a Sliver. That makes sense. Whenever you cast a spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a card with which costs less. You also got Barrow's Doze, Bazooka Bog from a free promo pack you got IRL from your local game store. Can you use it with Orcish Bowmaster? I've heard a lot about Bazooka Bog, but I've never actually looked at the card. One second. Bog. Let's see. The Bazooka Bog enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. That's some graveyard hate right there. It's a good card. If you are getting rid of a lot of an opponent's cards, then you could just cast a Bazooka Bog as your land for a turn, and it would exile their graveyard, making it one of the few things that's like a free graveyard exile. I don't know how useful it would be specifically in a Orcish Bowmaster deck, but also it just goes good in any black deck it's in. So I think a Bazooka Bog is pricey. Let's check the prices real quick, because it's so versatile. Yeah, it's a pricey card. With the reprints are like $7, except for the 2023 Bazooka Bog Commander March of the Machine. Okay. March of the Machine Commander decks must have had them before. But even then, it's like a $4 card for a Commander. Pre-built deck. But then like the rest of them are $7 and up. Yeah, it makes sense. Let's see. Let's see. Opponent. Draw. So that I could get that. It was 1 card free promo, and that was the Bazooka Bog foiled. Oh, if it's a promo, then it's probably got a better price. I'm going to assume it's from a more recent set. Let's go to Scryfall, because it shows all copies of the cards, and let's search up Bazooka Bog. Let's see. Why does Scryfall not have Bazooka Bog? Oh, I'm spelling it wrong, that's why. I'm just being a big idiot. You said promo, not sure if it was a promo. You don't know why you put it in. It's just foiled? Alright, let's see. What set did you get it in? Were you playing Wilds of Eldraine, or were you playing Ixalan? Because the Ixalan came out just a couple days ago. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to assume it's not specifically a commander set unless it was thrown in on a pack. If it was a Tales of Middle-earth one, then it might be worth a bit more. For some reason, it seems Scryfall doesn't have foil variations of that. It's from a commander set. Alright. Let's see. I'm having a hard time finding it because they all have the same art. At the very least, it's a couple dollars. But yeah, it's a decent card to throw in any black set. So, or black deck. Pretty interesting. A good pull nonetheless. I didn't look at Barrow's Dows. Or wait, no. Was that it? You got the Barrow's Dows Bazooka Bog. Let's see. Ah, yes, that's a depending on what's the number on the bottom. There should be a little number next to a C. There's a little C and then a number. That will tell me which one you have, because there are two versions of that card with different prices. Either way, it's over $15 because it's got the Middle-earth rename. But it would tell how much over. Should be right above the artist's name. 0358. Alright, so that one is $15.80. So it's a pretty pricey card nonetheless. That's a pretty good pull right there, actually. Nice. You got real lucky on that one. Yeah, that's the foiled price. The unfoiled would be about $13 for that version of it. Yeah. Let's see. Whenever an opponent draws a card. You bought some Lord of the Rings set boosters and it gave you a free pack that holds one card, and you pulled that from it. That's pretty cool. But yeah, since I left Standard, I found a bunch of other cards you might want to look into for your Orcish Bowmaster deck. I was wondering why the card variety seems so sparse. It's because I was in a very limited format. Underworld Dreams, for example, whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them. And Obnixilis deals damage to a player if they're an opponent and they draw a card. Uncommon and uncommon, so both of these cards are going to be fairly cheap compared to like the Bowmasters. You could build an entire deck around forcing the opponent to draw cards and then just dealing a lot of damage to them for them drawing cards. So like the early game would be Orcish Bowmasters and Underworld Dreams, and the late game would be Sheoldred and Obnixilis. And then for the things to get them to proc, you could do a Reckless Scholar for like a very cheap little thing to tap and do it. However, that comes out of the color format. We were just doing mono black, so you could do Eldritch Pact, and that would make them draw X card and lose X life, where X is number of cards in their graveyard. That's a very late game version of it. Let's see. Doesn't look like there's that much else. I suppose you would want to expand into blue to force them to draw with like an Overflowing Insight. Compulsive Research, force them to draw 3 and then discard 2. Or even like an Archmage Charm to have a little counterspell. Noted the cards I mentioned. Nice. I hope that you're able to build a really good deck out of it. Sign in Blood and Blood Pact are also some cards that you might want to get for it, because you could force the opponent to draw cards and they deal damage as well. Sign in Blood is a better Blood Pact. They both do the same thing, but Sign in Blood costs 1 less. They made Blood Pact cost 3 to make it a common, because Sign in Blood was too powerful when they did it before. But yeah. What's the other cards that you might want to think about? What was it? Was it the rack? Yeah, you might want to add the rack to the deck as well. I don't know how much the rack is worth. Oh, the rack, if you're to get the cheapest version of the rack, it would be about 75 cents. But if you were to get like any other version of the rack, it would cost about $3 to $5. I guess there's a revised version, which is a $1. Revised is always cheaper. The rack, what it does is when it comes into play, choose an opponent, and at the beginning of the chosen player's upkeep, it deals X damage to that player, where X is 3 minus the number of cards in their hand. The rack, yeah. 3 minus the number of cards in their hand. No, it wouldn't be the rack, it would be the vice, isn't it? Let's go vice on Scryfall, see if I could find it. Because the rack and the vice were commonly used together. Let's see. Because the rack is better for forced discard. What's the other one? Done in that set. I have all 3, but I haven't looked at their names in such a long time. What set was the rack in? The rack MTG. It was... let's see. Ah, that's it. The Black Vice. The Black Vice. Yeah, with an S, not a C. A Vice with a C is a completely different thing. The Black Vice, what it does is at the beginning of chosen player's upkeep, it deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of cards in their hand minus 4, which is the inverse of the rack. So, the Black Vice with an S, it's gonna make them lose life at the beginning of their turn for each card that they have more than 4 in their hand. And since you're going to be forcing them to draw cards, it would just deal a little bit more damage. And it's a 1-cost artifact. So, just a little bit of extra value to get in your early game. I would probably also recommend like an oversold cemetery. Because the oversold cemetery, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you could return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and it's a 2-cost enchantment. So you would probably have some creatures in your graveyard. At some point, you could even like do some self-mill, or like draw too much cards, and then you have to discard down at the end of your turn. And you just put some creatures in your graveyard, and then you could just keep on grabbing more creatures if you need them. That way you could always get the Orcish Bowmaster back at the beginning of your upkeep if you have the oversold cemetery. Ideally, you'd have a full play set of Orcish Bowmasters as well, which would be 4 of them. So if you have 1 right now, let's see. Bowmaster. Shopping. Oh man. I don't know if you'd want to do that though. You might want to do like some search. Because Orcish Bowmaster is currently a $40 to $45 card. What's the definition of mill or self-mill? Mill is where you take cards from the top of a library and put it directly into the graveyard. Self-mill is where you target yourself with mill abilities, so then you would move your cards to your graveyard to be able to use them for like a grave recursion deck. Just for like some examples, let's just grab this one. When there's battlefield, each opponent mills 2 cards, and then you scry 2 for the Overwhelmed Apprentice. It would just make your opponent take the top cards in their library and put them in your graveyard for this one, and then you scry 2, so you look at the top 2 cards of your library and put them back in any order. Let's go for something that mills yourself, though. Let's see. I'm more likely to find that in black. Because black has a lot of zombies. Zombies like mill. For example, this Wailing Ghoul here. When there's a battlefield, mill 2 cards, and that means that you're taking cards from your library and putting into your graveyard. Other cards would say like target player mills cards, and that means that you could choose your opponent for a mill deck. Mill decks usually really annoy some opponents because they see their cards that they want to draw going directly into their graveyard. However, at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect the game much because a lot of it is up to chance on whether or not you get cards. With a mill deck, you'd probably want to use like your Bajuka Bog or something, because then it forces them to never get their card back. So you would like mill a bunch of cards, and then you'd play your Bajuka Bog, and that would be your land for turn, and then suddenly all the cards that your opponent has milled are in exile, so they'll never be able to get them back. Why would you want to mill yourself? To use cards that benefit from recovering from graveyard? Yeah. There's a lot of cards that deal with grave recursion. For example, that card that I showed you a bit ago, Oversold Cemetery. Which I probably completely spelled wrong. Yeah, I did. at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card, or 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That way, you could just, if you have 4 options for creature cards in your graveyard, you could always just choose one, and then you could sacrifice a creature, or like I put one into the graveyard, and then you could just grab another one. That way you could choose which thing you're getting back each time, but it requires you to have stuff in your graveyard. Another example, what's his name? He is red, black, and blue. Muldrotha. During each of your turns, you may play a land or and cast permanent spells of each permanent type in your graveyard. Muldrotha is one of the biggest grave recursion commanders. Commander is a play format that is extremely popular, where you have 100 cards but only one of each type, and one is your commander. So Muldrotha is great in a deck where you're milling yourself and dealing a lot with pulling stuff from your graveyard, because he'll pull all the permanents you need from your graveyard. You'll pretty much never lose your permanents as long as you have Muldrotha in play. That kind of stuff. Just anything where you have stuff in your graveyard and you could pull it back. That's the type of situations where you'd want to mill yourself, because then you have a bigger graveyard, and in grave recursion decks, your graveyard is kind of like a second hand to you. So it just means essentially more cards in your hand. And also there's a lot of cards that benefit from number of creatures in graveyards. Okay, and in these, yeah, like the Cruel Somnophage, its power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. You are a new player, so you don't want to play a mill-heavy game play style yet. Fair enough. It's a pretty easy play style, but it comes down to like your personal preference. Yeah, I'd say like with something where you're damaging your opponent for drawing, punishing them for like getting the game, or well, playing the game, then that is perfectly fine. An easy type of learning deck type, you know? Yeah. There's also things like Draw Tribal and all that. I have a handful more packs to get through. I could play a few games after that if you want to watch me play some stuff. If you have more questions, feel free to ask them. Got another Mosswood Dread Knight here. Got like 5 of these tonight. Leyline of the Void. This is a card where, if it's in your opening hand, you could begin the game with it on the battlefield. Yeah, no problem. I always trying to grow my channel. You would love to watch me play now? Sounds good. Thank you. I've been helpful. Hey, no problem. Leyline of the Void. Kind of like a Bajuka Bog, except it's an enchantment, and it's got 4 mana cost if you draw it, but if you begin the game with it in your hand, you could reveal it and put it into play right off the bat. It makes it so that if a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you exile it instead. Good in any type of deck like that. Alright, Obira. Makes it so that fairies enter battlefield under your control and opponents lose life. I got all these cards today as well. I feel like I've run out of Wilds of Eldraine cards that are new. At least for me. Like my 6th Mosswood Dread Knight tonight. And I got 3 arena packs before I'm gonna start playing some actual games. Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon. Double team. If you control exactly 2 legendary permanents named Sir Joshua and Sir Jackson, the legend rule doesn't apply to them. Each other creature you control named Sir Joshua and Sir Saxon has Battle Cry. All of these are things that I've never used before. Double team, if it's not a token, conjure a duplicate into your hands. Alright, that's an arena rule. Conjure is an arena rule. Perpetual, arena rule. And Battle Cry. Battle Cry is outside of arena. None of these abilities you would ever see in physical play, because they can only be done in a digital format, which is why they're arena-specific cards. I haven't done much with the Eldraine's arena set, so anything that's got a little A in its set symbol is a card that I haven't played yet. Ceres, Slayer of the Fearful, or Slayer of Fear. If he was the Slayer of the Fearful, he wouldn't be protecting them now, would he? At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you gain life this turn, seek a card with the highest mana value among cards in a library, with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Nice. If I start playing, can I please explain my choices when playing without rushing me? My moves, so I can learn it? Alright, sounds good. I could definitely do that. Alright, we got a mythic. Oh, it's a wild card. I always need more wild cards. Second Little Pig and Stab Wound. Alright. Second Little Pig perpetually becomes a boar spirit with base power and toughness of 4 and 4 and gains flying. Alright. Activate if it isn't a spirit. So it's got a level up ability, but only 1. Alright. Level up mechanics are a little archaic, but they've been trying to bring them back lately. I've been wanting to play Scry Elves. It's not a very good deck, but I've been enjoying playing it lately, so I'm just gonna do some Brawl. Brawl is the arena version of Commander. It's just got a very limited amount of cards that you could use to play. In Commander, it's got pretty much every set that's ever been released, so Arena obviously can't do that because they don't have every card yet. I'd say this is a good start for this deck. I've got a joint exploration so that if I get another mana, I could use it to pull another mana from my library. Mirror of Galadriel allows me to scry and draw cards, but it costs 5 to start with and costs less for each legendary creature I have. Elvish Archdruid makes your elves stronger, and it adds 1 green mana for each elf you control. Elves are full of mana dorks. Mana dorks are anything that taps to add mana. That's not like a artifact or a land. So anything that's like a creature would be a mana dork if it's got a mana ability. Palantir of Orthanc, or Orthanc, whatever. It's a very good scry card. I could say it's broken. Omen Speaker, when I enters the battlefield, I scry 2. It's a 1/3. Also is block fodder. I am going to put Lembas at the bottom, and Gala Greeters I will probably put at the top, because I don't really feel like I need the Lembas spread right now. And the Gala Greeters is a good creature card. My Scry Elves deck is a mixture of a lot of Scry abilities, a lot of Elves, and buffing the Elves with +1/+1 counters. There's a card that I feel like I should add to my Brawl version that I added to my historic version of the deck, which is Simic Ascendancy. which makes you win the game directly if you've gained 20 +1/+1 counters. So, yeah. It's a good card that I probably should add. There are plenty of elves in this deck that I would probably remove anyways. Because whenever I see them when I'm scrying, I throw them to the bottom anyways, so there's no reason to keep them. Alright. Looks like they are playing a equipment deck where all their creatures they get from equipment. Crystal Grotto is a scry land. I will probably keep that at the top for now. I'm going to play this and kick it for 1 green. I'll scry 2 and draw the land and play it directly, so I can play 2 lands this turn. I will keep the Omniscience, because the Omniscience is broken. So now I gained 2 land in this 1 turn. But yeah, Omniscience is a broken enchantment spell that costs 10, which is 7 generic and 3 blue. And it allows you to cast cards from your hand without paying for them. It's a broken card, but it's a very expensive card. Fortunately, with Scry Elves, I'm getting a lot of mana ramp. So, I'll constantly have more mana than my opponent. Alright, so whenever this person attacks with an equipped creature, they get to exile a card from the top of their library and they can play it. However, without paying their mana cost. So I'm gonna guess everything in their deck is equipment. That's gonna be a problem. Alright. So their creatures are just going to get stronger and stronger. While my creatures, I'm going to hopefully be able to get stronger at the same rate. But that really just depends on if I could survive this next turn. With Brawl, there's a lot of really sweaty players, but then there's also players that are just doing it for fun. My favorite type of players are the ones that are doing it for fun. Because a lot of my decks are just for fun. On my channel, I have a few decks that are broken combos, but that's just to try them out, see like what I think of them. But my actual play format is more so a casual type, where I like to see fun stuff happen, but that means making janky decks that other people would win against if they're playing decks that are very hard into meta, like this one for example. Okay, so they got Forged anew. So that makes it so that they could grab their equipment back from their graveyard. Alright. Okay, I need to act fast. I'm going to start with a Gala Greeters. I'm going to play that one first, because whenever another creature enters the battlefield under my control, it procs. And I'm going to play a Reclamation Sage to destroy target artifact or enchantment. And I will create a treasure token with my Gala Greeters. And then I will destroy their Mithril Coat, because it gives their commander indestructible. And unfortunately I didn't get to scry, and it's looking like no matter what happens I'm probably going to lose. I'd have to block with everything, and everything I have will die. To be honest, you don't like top meta stuff. It's maybe different, but you have been a high-ranked League player. You never like following meta. Well, following the meta isn't very creative. It's a lot of copying what other people are doing because it works. I did find a pretty strong deck just doing some stuff for fun. That ended up becoming a meta later on. I don't know if I was the first, but it felt like I was. MTG is so fast. Yeah, it is. It's one of the reasons I like it, but I've also been playing it since I was a little tyke. Elvish Archdruid. Let's play that. I played the Pantheer so that I get some scry at the end of the turn and possible damage. And I'm playing the Elvish Archdruid so that I could get some more mana. I'm going to have the Galagreeters generate one more treasure. And I'm going to probably end up sacrificing my Omen Speaker as a bit of fodder for Nahiri. Oh man, I don't know if I want to attack with anybody. I'm pretty much on the offensive for now. How much mana would I have next turn? 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. Okay. I want the snow-covered islands. Now, they did exactly what I wanted them to. With the Pantheer, they could choose to put cards into my graveyard. They would have taken no damage with how I just set that up. But I wanted this island because with the island, I could play Omniscience, and then I could play anything I want for free. Which would be pretty cool. And it may be the only way I could win this now, because Nahiri is becoming too powerful. No longer indestructible, but still too powerful. I need Doubling Season, which I could get for free with Omniscience. And then I'm going to use that to rapidly grow Elrond, so that I could hopefully use Elrond to defeat Nahiri. But also, all this is equipment, so... Oh, what? They had Trample? Oh boy. RIP. I did not have fun. Alright. Played against a sweaty equipment user. Didn't get to show my deck popping off. Alright. I like janky decks where the combos are very much so not normal, not in the meta. And sometimes I end up finding combos that people like, and I end up making the meta. So, yeah. The smaller the combo, the more likely it is to be meta, but I like long and obtuse combos. Contrary to what my channel may appear as if you looked at my Magic the Gathering videos exclusively. Alright. Which do I want? So what makes him able to attack or defense, and then your keep? Or you don't know how to call it, or like he killed your defender and then your life. Oh, he had trample. He attacked me, and then anything that was over the health of my creature, I went straight to my face. Trample, focuses on, like, say if this guy had trample right here, and he was like an 8/8, and the opponent had like a 5/5, the toughness of 5 would be subtracted from the 8 of the power of my creature, and then 3 damage would go over to the face. But I'm also going to play this card that I was focusing on. It's a mana dork. So now I have 2 mana on turn 1. And the first card I'm going to probably play will be In Search of Greatness, because In Search of Greatness allows me to grab a card from my hands that is value cost 1 plus whatever the highest value card I have other than In Search of Greatness and put it into the battlefield. So if I can't do it, I scry, and that's fine with me. It's both the abilities I want. It allows me to cast things for free, and if I can't cast something for free, I scry like this. I'm going to put this at the bottom. This is probably going to be what I'm going to replace with Simic Ascendancy. I forgot to do that between rounds. Let's go with Snow-Covered Island, and I'll play a Beast Whisperer. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card. In an elf deck, that is broken, because you pretty much never run out of cards in your hand in an elf deck. But yeah. Oh boy, I didn't look at their commander. It's been a while since I've seen a Shrine deck. Oh man, I do not want to play a Primal Vigor against a Shrine deck. Oh boy. Primal Vigor, what it does is it doubles the amount of +1/+1 counters and tokens made for both me and my opponent. It's a weaker version of another card called Doubling Season, which only affects you. Because this also affects my opponent, I'm going to probably have to decline, because Go Shintai summon shrines, and it would make him summon double that many shrines. So it is really not what I want at all. Okay, so Marwyn the Nurturer. Draw a card. And that fizzled out fast, but next turn I'll start popping off. Okay. Oh no, they got rid of the card I wanted. The thing about Shrine decks is they spiral very quickly if you can't deal with them. Especially if they have Go Shinto. I am still not playing Primal Vigor. I don't think Impede Momentum would help here. The card changes the whole game up. MTG is so interesting. Primal Vigor, yeah. It's really good if you're playing against someone who doesn't have +1/+1 counters or tokens. I am going to target both my Beast Whisperer and Rishkar with the ability of Rishkar, because Rishkar would make everybody mana dorks, and that is good for me. And then I'll play Elrond. Next turn I'll start scrying. Hopefully he attacks with Go Shintai, but he probably won't, because all Shrine players that I've run into are very sweaty. Yeah. I'm going to take this Scry, and I will keep the Evolution Sage, and I will target Elrond to gain a +1/+1 counter. And I will play... Why is it only... I suppose I have a lot of green. I was thinking, why is it only doing green? But I have plenty of it, so... Let's do an Omen Speaker real quick to draw a card and scry 2. Whenever I scry, it triggers Elrond, and Elrond makes me put +1/+1 counters on an amount of creatures equal to the number of times I've scryed. So now I have 3 creatures with +1/+1 counters on them, And now I'm going to play a Grey Havens, and I am going to order it like this, so that then I could scry one more, put a +1/+1 counter on Omen Speaker, and then I proliferate. What proliferate does is you could choose any number of permanents and put an additional counter on them. So now all these creatures got 2 counters on them. It seems like I'm in a very good spot. Yeah, I'm just very concerned because they're playing shrines, and shrines ramp extremely quickly. But I might be just like over panicking, you know? Chance met elves. Whenever I scry, they buff once. And you know what? I'll just keep growing my board. Hope they don't wipe. And then next turn, I start attacking. Was I able to place a +1 on everybody? Yes, because of Evolution Sage. When a land entered my battlefield, its ability triggered, and its ability makes you proliferate. And if you proliferate, you choose any number of permanents, put a counter on them of the same type of a counter that they already have. So I chose +1/+1. Currently, they have 60 health, I have 6, so I am maybe not doing as good as we thought. I'm going to play the Primal Vigor. And this is a last-ditch effort type of thing. Snow-covered forest. Opt. I don't need an incubation druid. As good as it is, I'm going to put it on the bottom. Sphinx of Foresight, that's alright. +1/+1 counter on... who do I want? I'm gonna do the Lookout. And... Galhrim Guide. But he has 59 HP. Even though you watched, you missed a lot. It's alright. The guy is playing a very broken deck. Omniscience would be great right now. I don't know if I'm going to get to play it, but yeah. He's got Goshen Tai and Honden of Cleansing Fire. So at the beginning of their upkeep, they gain 2 life for each shrine they control, and they currently control 5 shrines. Alright, so I want... Oh man, these... Okay. And then I'm going to attack with him. And... Elrond and the Evolution Sage. Maybe the Omen Speaker. And I will leave 4 blockers. Okay, scry 1. Buffing... Lotharine. I halved their health. They're gonna gain a bit. And I'm down to 1. Okay, I'm gonna lose. I'm dead. Rip. He got all that HP from his shrines. Shrine decks are so sweaty. I was 1 turn from being able to play my entire deck. As long as I keep creatures on top, I could play it all. Aw, damn. He was lucky to draw all those shrines. Or how does that work? He regenerates so much. His deck was entirely based around getting as many shrines as he can. And shrines synergize quite a lot with each other. They get stronger the more you have. And his commander was making more shrines, so he got to be really strong towards the end of it. At the end, it was like anyone's game. How do you even go about destroying shrines? Creature removal for creature shrines and enchantment removal for enchantment shrines. it really depends on what type of deck you're playing. Technically speaking, I should be able to do enchantment removal because I am playing green, and green hates enchantments. But I don't run that many enchantment removal cards in this deck. Probably my only one would be Reclamation Sage, and I didn't have that. Oh, big rip. I'm going to play Druid of the Cowl for the mana efficiency. It's a mana dork. Paradise Druid's a mana dork, and Elvish Mystic is a mana dork, so I'm going to be ramping. They got a Utopia Sprawl. They're ramping up crazy as well. They are playing a deck that puts ability counters on things and doubles the amount of counters things get. He had so many shrines, like it's not possible to kill him near any that much. Usually you pick which ones are the roughest for your current board state, so I would have probably picked his commander or the one that's gaining him life, because those two were the ones that were causing the most problems. He also had one that was dealing damage to me equal to the amount of shrines he had, but I didn't really get a chance to deal with that one. I didn't get a chance to deal with any of them. Shrines are like slivers but weaker. Sliver decks are even more broken, though you don't see many people playing slivers in Brawl, because slivers are a very old type of card, and you want to have a lot of them, and they have a very limited selection in Arena. And if you were to build a sliver deck in real life, it would probably cost you thousands of dollars, because each sliver card is pretty expensive. What slivers do is they give their abilities to each other sliver you control. So you have strong slivers that buff strong slivers, making them all exponentially more powerful the more slivers you have. Wait, did he just... he gave me a first strike token? Oh, I'm sorry, dude. You gave me first strike. Alright. I'm not going to block him with Elrond, because Elrond would die. That guy just did a big oops. He gave my Elrond first strike, which means that my Elrond now could deal with just about any card he has. I just need Elrond to get bigger than Asgorn, which shouldn't be hard to do. I'm going to play an Elvish Mariner, and I'm going to opt. I'm going to probably take this Elvish Chancellor, and I'm going to play it right away. I'm going to use my Elvish Mariner, which has the ability whenever I scry, I could tap X non-land permanents, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying. So I could tap his cards so that then they can't block. So now his only choice would be the in-ranged Horn, and I'm going to use my 2 mana dorks to get an Elvish Chancellor, and it buffs all my elves. So I have 8 first strike damage coming in. And I'm not miffed if he only is hurting me with like 3 damage a turn. Currently I outclock him, and well, his little oopsie cost him the game. He buffed my creatures. And he didn't want to have to deal with the Elvish Mariner. The Mariner is a pretty broken card anyways. Alright, before I forget, I want to swap out a card. Simic Ascendancy, and I am going to replace... where is the Infect Elf? This one. Alright. Infect Elf didn't really match the playstyle of this deck, so it's out. Alright. Another one. One more of this deck, and then I'll switch decks to a different one so that you could see one of my more high-level decks. Now currently, the video that I made with the other deck that I'm going to play, it has grown my channel a lot. And you guess he had a lucky draw to stack these shrines so fast. Essentially, with a shrine deck, almost all your cards are shrines or abilities to look for the shrines you need, so that's just how the deck plays. It doesn't even necessarily mean he got super lucky with it. There's just so many cards that do the same thing in a shrine deck. Shrines have always been broken, but they got even more broken when they added a bunch of them in the recent what was it? Kamigawa? The recent Kamigawa set. They added like 5 more shrines. Well, no, that's way undershooting it. That was more like 50 new shrines. Why did I say 5? Wasn't even close. But yeah. I'm playing against Tom. How did Tom get that name? Must have been in early. Unless they have it so that it doesn't really matter. That doesn't seem fun. A lot of meta type decks aren't fun, in my opinion. I like it if it has many card combos, not every card combos. But yeah, when it comes to playing Magic the Gathering with other people, some people like to specify what level of deck they're playing. A lot of decks that I play would be like maybe a 5 out of 10. Like a 10 out of 10 would be like a sweaty meta deck, or like a deck that wins you the game within a couple turns. But I don't really play that many of those, and I don't really want to play many of those. Which one do I want to do? I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm probably going to play Elrond, get him out as soon as possible. If you're not mistaken, you could take any name in MTG Arena. Your in-game name is actually holds a number. It doesn't show in-game. Fair enough. I guess I haven't played that much with like using the friend feature. I only have my alt account and then somebody that I used to know who never really played with me. I got doubling season. I don't know if I'm gonna play it right away. I want to set up my board first. I might do the Pantier first, then a Woodland Champion, just to have more board presence. This guy, every time a token enters the battlefield, you put that many +1/+1 counters on him. He only combos with 1 card in my deck. They're not gonna block with their evolution stage, so I'm gonna get 4 damage into their face. Evolution Sage allows you to proliferate with lands. I'm not going to do a Druid of the Cowl. I might do a Joint Exploration, but it really depends. I'm just going to throw it to the bottom. It doesn't matter. Oh, they got lucky. The Pantier did no damage. What the Pantier does is it damages the opponent equal to the mana cost of cards that they mill, and they mill cards equal to the amount of counters, influence counters, on the Pantier. And at the beginning of my end step, I scry before they do the mill choice, and then I could choose to put high cost things on top. And low cost things on bottom. And then they take more damage the more cards they mill, essentially. Oh boy, they got rid of this guy. Oh no, I really actually don't care about losing this one. I would have cared more if they would have taken out my Paradise Druid. You only know that because you have the name Disco, and that would be a rare name, so you check straight away. Because it's so obvious that you couldn't take that name as a new user. Yeah, I suppose so. With me, I've always used Icebane the Wolf back in the past. Nowadays, it's Icebane the Fox. But, yeah. Icebane the Wolf was before I did a big rebrand. Well, I say big. To other people, it probably didn't matter. But because I use such a long name with underscores, I almost always get it. So, yeah. I think it's the song, but it sounds like something's falling behind me constantly, so I keep looking behind me. But there's nothing falling behind me. It's that little triple tap. This song is freaking me out and making me anxious. I don't know why. I'm skipping. New song. Alright. 2 creatures. I think they took damage. I didn't check what they took damage. How much damage? They took 2 damage. Alright. You're actually not Disco in the 4K range. You're Disco in wow, in 5 numbers. I'm not gonna say it out loud in case I end up popping off at some point and someone's watching VODs. Don't want you to get swarmed with messages or something. But that long, arbitrary number. Nice. Oh no. So this person is playing a poison deck. A lot of this stuff doesn't really affect me though. Or well, a lot of the stuff like on his commander doesn't really affect his permanents. I don't know why he's playing a poison deck. There's plenty of better commanders for poison, especially in this color range. Oh boy, double proliferate. I need to get rid of that. Or win. Probably win. Because if I don't, that could make me lose to poison counters. Poison counters are like damage, however they act as counters so proliferate targets them, and once you have 10, you lose the game. I think I will do a Lembas. Lembas bread. I will take that for the additional scry. I'll put that on the bottom. And Elrond for an additional scry. Put that on the bottom. And I'll target Elrond as well. Alright, so if they don't block, they lose. If they do block, they lose their ability to proliferate. And they also lose their ability to proliferate and kill me. Oh boy, they lost both of them. That's extremely good for me. The Pantier. Keep one on top. If they let me, they let me. Alright. If they didn't let me, they would have taking damage. Enough damage to be potentially lethal. So this might be their last turn. I like Presence of Gond. There is a combo in this deck, the only infinite combo in this deck, and it requires Presence of Gond, Legolas Counter of Kills, and either this Elrond or another card that I'm blanking on right now. Oh dear. Yeah. Let's see. Oh dear, Doubling Season does not help with Infect. It would increase the amount of Infect counters I get. That's something I didn't think of. I just played things out of order. I was supposed to do Tribute to the World Tree before Sigiled Starfish. Oops. Season of Growth, that's the other card I need. So Season of Growth, Presence of Gond, and Legolas. I will do it in this order. I might be screwed. If they could proliferate like 2 times, I might be done. Cause yeah. Alright. They targeted my Pantier. And they played a Replicating Ring. Okay, so they can't proliferate. I'm not dead yet. Alright. I got Coco. Let's see. I'm going to Season of Growth. And the Pantier for now. And then I'm going to leave him as a blocker against haste, but he can't block the guy in the sky. Oh man. I might just do that. Because the Pantier was reset, he didn't take that much damage. The Sigiled Starfish is just a little tap to scry kind of guy. I didn't really say what he did. What Coco does, Collected Company, you look at the top 6 cards of your library and put 2 creature cards with mana value 3 or less or among them onto the battlefield and put the rest in the bottom library in any order. So, yeah, it's just pretty strong. Do 3 damage to me. I dare ya. You aren't proliferating. I'm fine with that. Just deal damage. Life is a resource. Okay. Omniscience. I don't have anywhere near enough mana. Alright. I'm just gonna put it on the bottom. I could always shuffle with my Lembas Bread. I am going to Coco. And I got nothing. It's all lands. No. That is the most anticlimactic Collected Company I've seen in a long time. I'm sacrificing the Lembas Bread. Okay. Oh boy, they took 7 damage. Hope they like that damage. They did a board wipe earlier. I don't know if I mentioned it. Blood on the Snow. That's what removed my my creatures. And I believe that one also allows you to pull a creature back from your graveyard, hence why he got Tuckathal back. I'll take 6 damage. I don't care. Scry. Eyes everywhere. I am really tempted to use Eyes Everywhere to steal Tuckathal. We'll see how that plays out. Alright. I could tap target creature and put stun counters on them. I'd rather just take it. Come on, mill me. No, he didn't want to. It was too risky. Okay, currently he could do 6 damage per turn. And he's going to keep doing that, and that's fine. I'm not going to block. I have 3 turns until I'm dead at this rate. BB. Alright. Well, see you later, Wilderman, if that means bye-bye. I hope you have a good day, and feel free to drop a sub if you can. I'm always welcoming people back whenever they head out. Alright, Tails End to the bottom. And I want to steal Tuckathal. Okay. Put those on the bottom. Take a chance. He didn't want to. You could scry. That's my gift to him. He could pay to try to steal it back. Alright, he's got a gnat. Perpetually gets when you cast this spell. Get a poison counter. Alright. That's a little nuts. Alright, Scry, and I'm going to Evolution Sage, definitely I'll take that. I'm going to play that, and I'm going to Scry, put that on the bottom, draw a card, and then I will Rishkar, put +1/+1 counters on both of these. Scry, put the Lembas on the bottom. And Snow-Covered Island. Submit, submit. And then I win. Nope. He blocked. Okay. RIP. Okay, and I do not have enough life to just give him indestructible. Let's see. Alright, is he gonna do some crazy moves with whatever that one card is? He's looking at my enchantments. Is he gonna get rid of one of them? Is he gonna get rid of Tribute to the World Tree? Probably the most broken enchantment I have on the field right now. What's he gonna do? Oh, he grabbed Rishkar. Oh, rest in peace, Rishkar. He could have won if he would have taken back Tekethal. Alright, pass to attackers. Rest in peace. Good game. Alright. Got that one. Alright. So I am going to play in Historic Ranked with my Fast Eldrazi deck. This one popped off in the videos. I've received plenty of comments. Some of them I do not understand why they were commented, like how I mispronounced Cairn. I've been told that it's pronounced Karn and that it's insane and cringe that I do not pronounce it right. But yeah. Evidently, I'm in the wrong. So, you know what? That guy commented. I'm alright with it. Got me some viewer interaction, you know? I got a liquid metal coating. Next turn I get the Palladium Myrrh. And when I play the Palladium Myrrh, I'm going to be able to afford the Forsaken Monument. And then when I have the Forsaken Monument, I can play everything. And this one isn't currently meta. The meta version is just to make everything cost nothing and be able to play your entire deck while aiming specifically for the Aetherflux Reservoir. I have an Aetherflux Reservoir, but it's not the focus. Not even close. Alright. Scry. I'll take Cairn. That is very nice. End turn. I could start deleting their lands if I want to. So far all I have done is playing lands, and I've already out mana ramped them. Currently I have on field 11 mana. Forsaken Monument doubles my mana pool, essentially. Enters battlefield, sacrifice a land, conjure 2 cards named Mishra's Foundry. So battlefield tapped. Alright. Wow. My turn. I gain life for the number of artifacts I have. I tap Paradox Engine. And usually this is the point where people usually start to tap out. You know, they don't want to stick around with a Paradox Engine mana combo. It's not quite popped off yet, but it will be next turn. Now, can they get rid of my mana? Can they get rid of my Palladium Myrrh? Let's see. Oh boy, they're just playing as much land as they can. This deck is almost entirely land. This is off meta. It's probably because I'm playing at such a low level. I haven't played ranked in ages. But what is this? They're playing with like not even bad cards. They're just playing a lot of mana. And I'm about to stomp them with a bunch of artifacts. Alright, let's see. First things first, 5 mana is their highest mana value. Oh, shoot, I should have done the Palladium Myrrh first. Alright, whatever. Alright. GG. So they're attacking my Ugin. Rip. At this point, I don't care. Alright. So I could do that and that. Mystic Forge. Mystic Forge, Paradox Engine, all that good stuff. Power Stone Shard. The ramp has started. Mirror Box. Cairn. I'm going to target their lands and turn them into artifacts, kill them, and play another Inventor's Fair, Liquid Metal Coating, double Cairn Engine. Alright. Get rid of the Mishra's Foundry, so they can't hurt me with their lands. Get a Planar Bridge activation. I'm going to use that to snag another Power Stone Crystal. Tap that. Ugin. And good game. There we go. Feels a little sweaty to do that at bronze tier. I've been just playing so much of the commander version that doesn't have a ranked that I've fallen from diamond all the way down to copper, you know? Anyways, that's probably all I'm gonna do. Thank you guys very much for joining me, and most importantly, have a nice day. Bye now. Oh, and don't forget to like